My dad gave me a big villa. I thought it was too luxurious and would affect my simple and plain campus goddess persona. After visiting it once, I left it unused. A month later, a junior sister apprentice came to the school club. She said the villa was hers, and she said her dad was the richest man. Looking at the rustic and ugly junior, I fell into deep thought. I'm the president of the art club in our university. Art requires talent, and I don't want others to think I'm a pay-to-win player. So I've never told anyone that. In fact, my dad is the richest man. Originally, I was happily wearing my disguise as a goddess and dating my handsome and motivated boyfriend. Suddenly one day, a rustic and ugly junior was surrounded into the club. She said, her dad was the richest man. My first reaction was, has the richest man changed? Until she showed a photo of my dad, Wilson, on her phone, put it next to her face, and smiled sweetly, saying, I look like my dad. I was stunned and quickly called my dad to question him. When did I get an extra sister? My dad swore with his ancestors from the past 18 generations that he only had me as his daughter, and then I believed him. Your dad is Wilson? I asked her suspiciously. That's right, I'm his only daughter. My name is Jenny, she said brazenly. My anger flared up. Does Wilson know he has a daughter like you? But I'm not going to expose her immediately. I want to see what she's up to by impersonating me. Sister Bella, let Jenny join the club. Jenny said we can go to her big villa for a barbecue this weekend. The club member Penny said happily, shaking Jenny's arm. Okay, bring your student ID, I'll register it. I reached out my hand to Jenny. Jenny hesitated a bit but still gave me her student ID. I opened her ID and saw that in the column of native place, it clearly said W City. I was puzzled and asked, isn't the richest man from J City? Why is your native place W City? Jenny reacted quickly without any flaws. My family's ancestral home is in W City. We just currently live in J City. What W City? My family's ancestral home is in J City. She's so sure that no one will really check that she dares to talk nonsense like this. My dad values privacy and has always hidden his family's identity information very well, which gives Jenny an opportunity to take advantage. You said you'll take us to your big villa for a barbecue this weekend, I asked her while registering. A trace of pride flashed in Jenny's eyes. That's right, my dad bought me a villa not far from the school so that I can go there and live when I'm free. A bad premonition flashed through my mind. Could the villa she's talking about be the one my dad bought for me a month ago? Last time I went to see it, the villa is magnificent, but unfortunately, it's too big. If I live alone, I feel creepy. The decoration is also too luxurious. Not in line with my taste, so I left it unused. How did it suddenly become hers? The club members excitedly gathered around Jenny, the big villa of the richest man's family. Can I go? Jenny, count me in. I also want to go. Jenny accepted everyone without refusal and smiled generously, saying, anyone who wants to come can come. She received unanimous cheers from the club members. I sneered in my heart. The villa's gate has facial recognition and fingerprint recognition. Only my information is entered in the system. I want to see how Jenny can enter the villa gate. My boyfriend, Herman, asked me to have dinner in the cafeteria. Herman is the president of the student union. Although his family background is ordinary, he's handsome, capable, and motivated, and he accommodates himself to me 100%. After dating for 2 years, I'm very satisfied with him. I decided that after observing for a while longer, I could take him home to meet my parents. Herman, do you know the daughter of Wilson? I planned to slowly reveal my identity to him. He took a couple of bites of rice and looked at me in surprise. You mean that Jenny from the first year? I was stunned and almost choked on the rice in my mouth. Herman quickly patted my back and blamed me with concern. Why are you still like a child? You can even choke while eating. I didn't expect that even Herman had heard this false news. This really put me in a very passive position. I pondered for a few seconds and decided not to reveal my identity as Wilson's daughter before exposing Jenny, lest Herman think I'm joking. Yeah, that's the Jenny. I haven't had any contact with her. I don't know her well. I thought so too. Herman is a straight guy. What could he know about Jenny? So I didn't continue this topic. Herman was very busy. He left in a hurry right after finishing his meal. I didn't have much to do in the afternoon, so I continued to sit there and eat slowly. While I was eating, someone suddenly sat down in the seat across from me. I thought Herman had come back. When I looked up, it was Jenny, Sister Bella. So Herman is your boyfriend? Jenny sat down on her own, smiled proudly, and said, I've taken a fancy to him. Sister, Please take the initiative to withdraw. You can name your terms. My upbringing since childhood has taught me, be low-key and never show off. Therefore, as the real daughter of the richest man, I've never said such arrogant words in 20 years. Today, however, I heard them from the mouth of an impostor. I sneered with malicious intent. Then tell me, what kind of conditions can you offer? Jenny said proudly. Sister, you're already in your junior year, right? When you graduate, I can recommend you to work in the Wilson family group. Jenny stretched out her finger and made a 7, telling me, the annual salary can reach this amount. Just this, I laughed. That means you can't offer any conditions right now and just want to get something for nothing. Jenny didn't back down at all. Sister, I hope you can have a bigger vision. Don't just focus on a little immediate benefit. Her condescending attitude made me disgusted. I carefully looked at her from head to toe with my eyes, and then said softly, you say you're the eldest lady of the Wilson family. I don't believe it. I saw her pupils suddenly constrict. But she quickly regained her composure and said, whether I'm the eldest lady of the Wilson family or not, you'll know after I take you to the big villa this weekend. Who said having a villa can prove you're Wilson's daughter? I scoffed. Maybe that villa is rented by you. I stood up and walked behind her, rolled up a strand of her hair, and said softly, your hair was just done. It was oiled and looks quite shiny. But your hair quality is so poor, you rarely took care of it before, right? I swept my index finger across the skin on the back of her hand. Your nails are manicured, and you've put foundation on your hands. It looks delicate, but your fingers are so thick, just like those of someone who does manual labor all year round. Does the eldest lady of the Wilson family usually need to do rough work? I pinched her clothes again. Your clothes and jewelry are all big brands and seem to be carefully groomed, but they don't match your temperament at all. Your dress is really awkward no matter how you look at it. Could it be that your clothes are stolen? Jenny, who was already guilty, was irritated by the word stolen and exploded. She left a sentence, crazy, and ran away without looking back. I was amused. Could she really be a thief? Herman's family background was poor. When we first got together, he was thin and dark. Later, I accompanied him to work out and took him to improve his diet. Even his daily necessities, clothing, and accessories were all bought for him by me. Watching him become elegant and handsome, being regarded as a rich second generation by his classmates and secretly loved by girls, I felt a great sense of accomplishment in my heart. I'm confident that Herman only has me in his heart, not to mention that this fake Jenny is rustic and ugly. And her lies can't stand scrutiny at all. Even if she were really the daughter of the richest man, I'm confident that Herman would choose me over her. So, I didn't take Jenny's provocation seriously at all. After all, this clown will be revealed for what she is when the weekend comes. Why bother? In the evening, the video of my conversation with Jenny in the cafeteria was posted on the campus network. Campus Belle vs Rich Lady, vote to see who can win the handsome guy's heart. The post was pinned and made a featured post. In a short time, the number of people voting increased rapidly before our eyes. What I completely didn't expect was that the number of people voting for Jenny to win was far more than those voting for me. I scrolled down to look at the comments. Someone said, between a beautiful beauty and not having to struggle for 30 years, I choose the latter. Another person said, in the face of capital, beauty is nothing. Are people all so realistic? This makes me seem stupid for hiding my identity as a rich and beautiful girl, and are people all so blind? Jenny's disguise is obviously very fake. Why can't everyone see it? I wasn't willing to give up. I continued to scroll down and finally found a normal comment. ID, Spencer, calculating the time when Mrs. Wilson was pregnant based on Jenny's age. The time doesn't match at all. In that year, Mrs. Wilson had a busy schedule, and photos of her were released throughout the year. There was no sign of pregnancy. Attached, photos of Mrs. Wilson throughout the year. The young man is clear-eyed, logical, and straightforward. I gave him a thumbs up in return. I didn't really care much about what the passers-by commented. Instead, I went to the student union to find Herman as usual. As soon as I arrived at the student union office, I saw Herman being pestered by Jenny. I was really angry. Posing as me and interfering in my relationship. Could Jenny be more shameless? Fake rich lady, aren't you satisfied with being a thief? Now you're directly being a mistress, right? I swear this is the ugliest thing I've ever said in my life. Jenny was already guilty. The sonorous words, fake rich lady, made her tremble with anger. Bella, who's fake? Jenny pulled a long face. I sneered. Do I need to say it again, rustic and ugly? Who gave you the confidence to pretend to be a rich and beautiful girl? I finally said what was on my mind. I thought Herman was the one being pestered, and I took it for granted that he would definitely be on my side. I didn't expect the slap in the face to come so quickly. Herman stood in front of Jenny and frowned at me. Bella, stop talking. Jenny isn't what you think. Excuse me, he told me he didn't know her well during the day, and now he's calling her by her first name at night. If she isn't what I think, then what is she? I stared into his eyes and questioned him. I'm actually a very easy-going person, but in a relationship, I only like to be blatantly favored. I want my boyfriend to stand by me whether he's right or wrong. If he can't do that, then I'll kick him out. I'm willing to listen to his explanation, but he kept pushing me to leave. Let me take you back to the dormitory first. I'll tell you on the way. I shook off Herman and pointed at Jenny. No need to go back. Explain right in front of her. There's plenty of time now. You can explain. Herman stammered and couldn't say anything. Seeing this, Jenny smiled triumphantly and directly took Herman's hand. The thing is that I confessed to Herman, and Herman agreed to give me a chance to pursue him. Herman's face looked very ugly, but he didn't let go of Jenny's hand. On the hand he held with Jenny, he was still wearing the birthday gift I gave him, a watch that I asked my cousin to bring back from abroad, worth hundreds of thousands of yuan, to describe my mood at this moment. It can be simply described as a bolt from the blue. It's not that I'm particularly affectionate towards Herman, I just can't accept two things. First, I misjudged him and fell for a fence-sitter. Second, the fence-sitter gave up on me and turned to a rustic and ugly girl with poor deception skills. He even defected before he had even tasted the pie Jenny painted for him. If he had just checked the prices of the gifts I gave him in the past 2 years, he wouldn't have been so complacent, right? I turned around and left. I knew it was over between Herman and me. I have a love-related cleanliness. I can't accept a scumbag who has one eye on what he has and the other on what he wants. Herman chased after me. On the way, he desperately tried to explain to me, Bella, listen to me. Jenny asked me if she could pursue me. How could I answer? I could only say it was her freedom. I really didn't say anything else. Please don't be angry. Okay, I won't accept her. I only love you. Herman tugged at my arm, all the way from the academic affairs building to the teaching building. Let go, let go. I was really furious. Did this scumbag think I was in kindergarten? Did he think he could deceive me back with just a few words? I tried my best to shake off the arm that he was pulling so painfully, but I couldn't get rid of it no matter how hard I tried. Just then, a person came out of the teaching building. This person walked straight up to us, grabbed Herman's wrist, and with a neat inward rotation, controlled him. Ouch, who are you? Herman was grabbed and his arm hurt, so he shouted wildly. The boy didn't let go but turned to ask me, are you okay? Then I looked at the boy. He had clean, cut short hair and was wearing a white coat over his sweatshirt. He was a medical student. His face looked a bit familiar. Wasn't he the one who spoke up for me on the campus network? Spencer. I blurted out. The boy was stunned, as if he didn't expect that I actually knew his name. Then he nodded at me, glanced at Herman, who was being held by him, and asked me, what should we do with him? I looked at Herman. Herman quickly said to me, Bella, believe me, I'll explain it clearly to you. Okay, what happened just now was really a misunderstanding. Please ask him to let me go first. I felt very sad in my heart. Did this two-faced man always regard me as a big fool who was easy to deceive? I'm not going to let him off so easily. Since he dared to play me, I'll let him taste what it means to regret to the core. I took out my phone and took a picture of Herman's sorehead appearance. While recording the video, I said, Herman, we've been dating for 2 years. And I still have feelings for you. As long as you say in the video what you just said, that Jenny is unilaterally pestering you, you have no feelings for her, and you will never accept her. As long as you say it, I'll forgive you. Herman, do you dare to say it? I brought the phone close to his face so that he could see his embarrassed and ridiculous appearance in the video. His expression changed from red to green and then from green to red. I knew exactly what was going on in his mind. Now that he was being held down, he had lost all his dignity and grace. If he really said those words, not only the daughter of Wilson, but any girl with self-respect would never approach him again, and he didn't want to miss out on the daughter of Wilson. Bella, there's nothing to say. Herman turned his face away. Let's break up. Finally getting the expected result. I sneered and calmly turned off the video. Let him go, I said coldly. Herman, having regained his freedom, probably didn't have the face to look at me. He lowered his head and ran away directly. Actually, my heart wasn't as calm as it seemed on the surface. At that moment, I really wanted to rush over and kick him to the ground, and then shout at him loudly, "Idiot, I'm the golden phoenix you want to cling to. You were once just one step away from the opportunity, but now you've missed it forever." But I didn't. I couldn't ruin my campus goddess persona. I told myself to think on the bright side. It was a good thing to see clearly Herman's character before my feelings for him got too deep. I turned around to thank Spencer. A gust of wind blew sand into my eyes, and I couldn't help rubbing them. Spencer mistook it for me crying. "Don't cry, he's not worth it," Spencer suddenly said. His voice was a bit raw but somehow nice to hear. "He'll regret losing you." Hey, I thought to myself, this person looks cold, but he's actually quite caring. "Got it," I said. The next day, Herman and Jenny were openly together. When I met them in front of the art building, Jenny was ignoring the gossip, loving students and tightly holding Herman's arm. Jenny was arrogant, with a triumphant smile of a victor. "Sister Bella, we meet again," I sneered. "The fake rich lady and the cheating guy. They really are a match made in heaven." Every time I said, "fake rich lady," it would always make Jenny's face change. I watched her livid face with great interest and asked her, "Fake rich lady, have you found out about the other person's family background? You're so eager to throw yourself at him. Be careful that you'll end up losing both your money and your man." Jenny secretly glanced at the watch on Herman's hand and disdainfully pouted. "Sister, you don't know the value. I know the value of Herman better than you do." "Very well, I really wanted to see her end up with nothing. Then I'm looking forward to the villa trip this weekend." Jenny wanted to continue bickering with me, but suddenly someone put their arm around my shoulder. A strong arm turned me around and led me towards the building. I followed the arm and saw that it was Spencer, who had helped me yesterday. I whispered, "Why are you here?" Spencer blinked. "Just passing by. I didn't want to see you lose, so I came to help you out." I understood what he meant. When you break up and meet your ex-boyfriend, the one without a partner is the pitiful one. He was helping me save face. I nodded and softly said, "Thank you." I let him put his arm around me and walked forward without blushing or being nervous under the gazes of everyone. Today was the day for the art club's meeting. There was a large crowd sitting in the huge lecture hall. I had called all the club members to a meeting because there was a rather important thing to announce. The Art Town, under the Wilson family group, had sent an invitation, inviting 50 art club members to go to the Art Town for a one-month sightseeing and study. The origin of the Art Town dates back to 2 years ago. In my freshman year, I was elected as the president of the art club. In my excitement, I called my dad on a whim to share the good news. Unexpectedly, that afternoon, the school received a huge investment from my dad, specifically earmarked for the school's art club. If I hadn't strongly objected, my dad would have even taken a plane to our school to award me a Medal of Honor directly. To help me firmly secure the position of art club president, my dad made a big investment and built a cultural and art distribution center in the south of the city called Art Town. The town has introduced more than 2,000 fashion enterprises, and hundreds of top domestic and foreign designers have gathered there. Since I didn't want to reveal my identity, my dad signed a talent introduction agreement with the school in the name of the company, claiming that it was a school enterprise cooperation to drive employment through entrepreneurship and build a high ground for fashion industry talents. The school regularly sends art club members to the Art Town for study every year. Over time, others think it's stipulated in the contract. In fact, they don't know that all the places are directly designated by me and have nothing to do with the agreement. Seeing that all the club members had arrived, I started calling the roll: Lucy, Fiona, David from the Fine Arts Department, Luna, Frank from the Product Design Department, the above 50 students. Please gather at the school gate before 10 o'clock tomorrow morning and take the school arranged bus to the Art Town for a one-month study. The students whose names were called cheered happily. After all, going to the Art Town is a very good training opportunity for students, even when looking for a job in the future. It is also a strong advantage. I closed the roll book and was about to talk about some precautions. Penny, Jenny's little follower, suddenly jumped out and interrupted me. "Sister, you're being too partial. Why are all the people you chose your good friends?" Saying that I chose all my good friends was pure slander. First of all, the minimum requirement for being a president is to be fair. Otherwise, do you think the top students who can be admitted to this university have no personalities? If I'm not fair, who will accept me? Secondly, I also care about my reputation. The art town is my family's enterprise, and the senior executives all know me. If I send a group of people who are close to me but have no talent or ability, won't I lose face in the end, so without me having to do anything? Some club members stood up for me. Why do you say sister is unfair? That's right. The people on this list are all recognized as capable, and most of them are seniors who need internship opportunities. You're a freshman and don't understand the rules. What are you talking about? The little follower backed down and immediately pushed Jenny to the front. She pulled Jenny's sleeve and whispered, Jenny, this is so unfair. Why does sister have the final say? Jenny had been repeatedly hit on the sore spot by me before, and her heart was already filled with anger. She took the opportunity to pick a fight and said, Penny is right, the art club can't be your one-person show. I propose selecting the people. I didn't even bother to lift my eyelids. Isn't the art town under the Wilson family group? Who to send for the internship is just a matter of a word from the eldest lady of the Wilson family. Jenny immediately realized that something was wrong and immediately refused. My dad is in charge of the company's affairs. I won't interfere. Arranging one or two people for an internship is hardly interfering, I said coolly. Anyone else who wants to go for an internship can just beg the eldest lady of the Wilson family, right? The little follower's eyes lit up when she looked at Jenny. I secretly laughed in my heart. This is called lifting a rock only to drop it on one's own foot. Ignoring Jenny with a dark face, I told the club members who needed to go for an internship some precautions, announced the activities and competitions for this semester, and then announced the end of the meeting. After the meeting, Spencer asked me out for a meal. A girl's sixth sense told me that he had a crush on me. After 2 interactions, I didn't dislike him, just as I was hungry. We went to eat sushi at the school gate together. I ate while waiting for him to confess. But he rambled on and on without getting to the point. I asked, do you like me? Spencer's face froze. After a long while, he nodded. I've liked you for 2 years. I was a bit surprised. Then why have you never confessed to me? Spencer lowered his head. The usually cold-hearted person now looked a bit lonely. When I was about to confess, I found out that you already had a boyfriend. Oh, I felt a bit sorry for him. However, I had just broken up and didn't want to start a new relationship so soon. Just as I was about to reject him, I saw him suddenly raise his head and look me in the eyes. Don't reject me yet. Listen to me. He looked at me and said, I'm 1 year older than you. I'm currently a senior and majoring in medicine. My family conditions are okay, and my parents are reasonable people. I understand my feelings. I'm definitely not just interested in you on a whim. I've liked you for 2 years and have the intention of loving you for a lifetime. I didn't know what to say for a moment. To be honest, hearing him say this, I was actually quite touched. Maybe the old saying is right, people who have just broken up need warmth the most, and he gave me this warmth. I'm very grateful. However, I'm still sorry that I have to refuse. I am sorry. Before I could finish speaking, Spencer's face tightened, and he hurriedly interrupted me. You don't have to decide so quickly. Give me a chance. Let's get along and see. Okay. I suddenly thought he was quite cute. Thinking carefully, it seemed that every time he appeared, he could make me feel quite happy. Since that's the case, why not get along and see? Okay, I smiled. Then I'll give you a chance. In the dormitory, 1 second, I was still recalling the face of Spencer, who was as happy as a husky. The next second, I received a call from my dad. Blind date. I couldn't believe it. You want me to go on a blind date? With whom? Dad said carefully. It's the son of your Aunt Jane. When you were a kid, you called him Brother Stone. Do you remember? You liked to play with him when you were in kindergarten. No. Why suddenly do you want me to go on a blind date? I completely couldn't understand. Is our family bankrupt? Do you need me to marry into a wealthy family for business? To be honest, that was the only reason I could think of. Absolutely not, Dad explained. Actually, your grandfather and your Uncle Stone's grandfather, that is, my father, made a baby betrothal for you and little Stone. I refused and immediately jumped up. What era is this now? How can we still play the game of baby betrothal? I don't recognize it. Of course we don't recognize it. Of course we don't. Dad quickly echoed me. It's just that this time Aunt Jane suddenly brought up this matter. Besides, our 2 families are also very close friends. How can I have the nerve to refuse? Darling daughter, don't worry. What I mean is, you just go and meet him once. After that, I'll say that you didn't like his son. After hanging up the phone, I felt my head throbbing. I had to go on this blind date even if I didn't want to. However, where there is a policy, there is a counter measure. The next day, I put on a smoky makeup, wore my roommate's afro wig, put on a crop top, and took a taxi to the appointed place. I deliberately arrived half an hour late, unexpectedly. The man on the other side was even more arrogant. He hadn't arrived yet. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, I saw a punk-looking boy walking towards my seat with a swaggering gait from a distance. I had a bad premonition. The punk, wearing sunglasses, walked up to me. Little moon, a million alpacas seemed to be running through my mind. Little stone, could the punk have just taken a fancy to my look? As soon as I finished speaking, the punk suddenly pulled off his sunglasses and wig. What was he going to do? I quickly took 2 steps back, fearing that he would suddenly go crazy and hit someone. Unexpectedly, the punk suddenly spoke. Bella, it's me. I took a closer look. The punk was Spencer, sitting in the coffee shop. I finally learned the whole story. Spencer, that is, Aunt Jane's son, revealed to his mother yesterday that he was pursuing the girl he liked. Aunt Jane has always been very open-minded and fully supported her son's pursuit of true love, but she suddenly remembered that her family's old man and the old man of the Wilson family, that is, my grandfather, had made a baby betrothal. Later, the Seong family went to B City, and the Wilson family stayed in J City, because of different development directions. The younger generations of the two families didn't have much communication, although no one really took this matter seriously. Aunt Jane felt that she had to give an explanation for the baby betrothal, so she came up with an idea for her son. As long as the two people go on a blind date once, and then say that they didn't like each other afterwards, wouldn't this matter be settled? Just happened to know that I and Spencer were in the same city, so there was this blind date. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Spencer, however, was beaming with joy. He said that we were tied together by fate from thousands of miles away. Just then, my phone suddenly rang. It was Lucy from the Fine Arts Department. Hello, what's the matter? I asked. On the phone, Lucy spoke very quickly. Sister, we've arrived at the art town. When the staff in the town were checking the list, they found that several students didn't match the internship list they received. The places of Leo from the animation department, Wendy from the design department, and several other students on the list were gone and replaced by Penny, Kathy, and several freshmen who are close to Jenny. Lucy's meaning was very clear. Jenny had tampered with the internship list. I suddenly remembered that when I put the internship list on the teacher's desk in the department yesterday, Herman and Jenny were both there. They must have done this, so they knew clearly that there were cameras in the teacher's office. But they still brazenly changed the intern places. I thought I probably guessed Jenny's mentality. She thought the internship places were arranged by the school, and the contact person only recognized the list, and the students who lost their places probably thought the town changed the places because of the order of the daughter of the richest man, and didn't dare to make trouble. She was gambling. Unfortunately, she was doomed to lose. After hanging up the phone, I couldn't help laughing at their stupidity. They were asking for trouble. I made a call to the person in charge of the internship at the art town. 2 hours later, Jenny's little followers and others were slinking back in disgrace. Accompanying them was also Director Jack, who was in charge of the school, Enterprise Cooperation. Director Jack, with a few students who looked as timid as quails, rushed into the office of the dean of the art department and told the dean in detail about the students' unauthorized replacement of the internship places. Penny and the others naturally wouldn't take the blame for nothing. They immediately gave Jenny up. When I arrived at the office, I just heard Penny crying and explaining. Director Jack, we really didn't change the internship list. We just asked Jenny to give us an internship place. Penny choked and added, oh. Jenny is the eldest lady of the Wilson family group. Her father is Wilson. Director Jack knew me. To prevent him from exposing Jenny right away, I immediately pushed the door open and signaled him with a soothing look not to be in a hurry. I still wanted to see how exactly Jenny would enter my big villa. Director Jack cleared his throat and said, I don't personally know the eldest lady of the Wilson family. However, no matter who made the mistake, I hope the school can handle it fairly and not show favoritism. The dean of the department quickly nodded, promised that the school would severely punish the perpetrators, and then respectfully sent Director Jack away. After retrieving the surveillance video from the department office, the truth soon came to light. It turned out that it was Herman, the president of the student union, who had tampered with it. The next day, The school announced that Herman was given a major demerit and removed from his position as the president of the student union. As for Jenny, although she was lucky enough to avoid punishment because she didn't personally tamper with it, rumors about her faking the identity of the daughter of the richest man were already spreading everywhere. Jenny was so ashamed that she didn't dare to go out all day, but she refused to admit that her identity was faked. She emphasized that she could take her classmates to the big villa for fun on the weekend, then she could prove her identity. Herman also came forward and took all the blame on himself, clearing Jenny completely. So, everyone unanimously spat on Herman for being shameless. In order to please Jenny, he was willing to do anything without principle. Herman was used to having things go smoothly. The insults and cold shoulders from others made it completely unbearable for him. He locked himself in the dormitory, hoping to gain Jenny's guilt in this way. Unfortunately, his dream of becoming a son-in-law of a rich family was about to be shattered soon. The weekend arrived quickly. The classmates who were skeptical about Jenny were already eager to see the big villa of the richest man's family. Jenny also attached great importance to this day. She led dozens of people in a mighty manner to the gate of the mountain villa. "This is the villa my father bought for me," Jenny said, pointing to the huge villa and smiling with pursed lips. Seeing that there was really a villa, the classmates who originally thought Jenny was faking it were also a bit unsure in their hearts. The crowd started chatting and envying. What a big villa, as expected of the richest man's doing. Herman also came, looking very proud, as if the villa belonged to his family. "I asked Spencer to come with me to watch the fun." I raised my chin and pointed at Jenny. "Only my information is recorded at the gate. I want to see how Jenny can get in." Spencer casually glanced at Jenny, opened the water bottle he was carrying, and handed it to me. "Have some water." I was really a bit thirsty, so I bit the straw and took big gulps. The group of people watched from the outside for a long time. Finally, Jenny walked up to the door and prepared to open it. I thought she was going to use fingerprint or face recognition to unlock the door, so I couldn't help stretching my head to look. Unexpectedly, she suddenly pressed the doorbell. Doorbell. Was there someone in the villa? I was stunned. Who was in the villa? After a while, an aunt in her 50s, dressed as a servant, came out of the villa and welcomed Jenny in. At this point, even Spencer showed a puzzled expression. I quickly called my dad. "Hello, Dad. Did you arrange a servant for my villa?" My dad was confused. Yes, I arranged a caretaker. She's in her 50s, Monica." Secretary Linda thought it was a coincidence that her daughter was in the same school as you, so she chose her. "Why, her daughter was in the same school as me." I immediately understood. So Jenny was the daughter of the aunt who took care of my villa. I'm going to fire this aunt. Also, I'm going to sue her for leading people to illegally invade a private house. When the security guards and the police arrived, Jenny's barbecue party had just started. "Squat down, nobody move. Someone reported that you are illegally invading a private house." Several police officers showed their badges, and more than a dozen security guards lined up with tools in hand. A group of college students had never seen such a scene and were all dumbfounded. It wasn't until someone explained the whole story that the leading police officer walked up to Jenny and questioned, "You said you are the owner of this villa." Jenny's face was as pale as paper. The fear of being exposed in public made her unable to speak. She looked at Aunt Monica for help, hoping she could say something. "Don't look," the police officer interrupted in a timely manner and said with a cold face, "We have already called and verified with the real owner. It has nothing to do with you. If you don't tell the truth, do you want me to take you to the police station and talk slowly?" The police officer's intimidation worked. Aunt Monica threw herself on Jenny. "I'll say it, I'm the servant here. Jenny is my daughter. She said she wanted to bring her classmates here to play. I thought the villa was empty anyway, so I agreed. It's all my fault. It has nothing to do with Jenny." Wow dash, the crowd exploded. Jenny is the daughter of the Wilson family servant. How dare she say she is the eldest lady of the Wilson family? Jenny is something else. When it comes to being shameless, I really admire her. She dared to play such a big game. Amid the taunts, Jenny's body trembled like a sieve, and then she fainted straight away. Herman's face was as green as if he had seen a ghost. He stared fixedly at Jenny, who was lying on the ground, as if he wanted to see through her. After the farce ended, except for a few students who were called to the police station to make statements, the rest of the people returned to school. The news that Jenny, taking advantage of her mother's position as a servant in the Wilson family, had impersonated the daughter of Wilson spread throughout the campus at the first time and became the talk of everyone during their spare time. The school quickly gave her a major demerit, but what awaited Jenny was not just a major demerit. After my dad bought the villa for me, he asked Secretary Linda to prepare all kinds of daily necessities, clothing, and jewelry in the villa. Of course, these were all famous brands. What Jenny wore and used. The capital she used to pretend to be a rich and beautiful girl, were all obtained by stealing or selling the things in the villa. After I asked Secretary Linda to calculate the losses, I directly filed a lawsuit in court. Jenny was about to face hundreds of thousands of yuan in compensation. If she couldn't pay the money, she might go to jail. On the other hand, Herman, whom I hadn't seen for a long time, used his connections to send me a video. He wanted to ask me out. In the video, Herman looked haggard. He held a fruit knife in his right hand and pressed it against his left wrist. He said affectionately to me, "Bella, I have only loved you from beginning to end. I just want to see you one more time. If you don't agree, I will cut this knife down. I'm waiting for you in room 302 of the VIP hotel." Herman's behavior disgusted me. If the place where he asked me to meet wasn't a hotel, I had originally planned to let things go. After all, Herman was already infamous, and I didn't need to deal with him anymore. But he was obviously still insulting my intelligence, threatening me to go to a hotel with suicide. If I went, what did he plan to do to me next? Play tricks with me? Then I would play with him. I immediately sent the hotel name and room number to Jenny. Jenny always thought Herman was a rich second generation. I believed that she, who was burdened with debts, must know what to do next. Half a month had passed since I tricked Jenny and Herman to meet at the hotel. Secretary Linda said that Jenny had paid off all the debts she owed. I thought things ended there. The money Jenny used to pay off the debt must have come from Herman. Herman didn't know how valuable the things I gave him were, but Jenny knew very well. However, even if she took the things from Herman, whether by deception or theft, it had nothing to do with me. During this period, Spencer and I were dating as ordered. The elders of both families were very optimistic about this relationship, and I myself was becoming more and more immersed in it day by day. We had similar economic strength, and we were relaxed and at ease when getting along. I didn't need to be as careful as I was with Herman, always taking his feelings into consideration. Our values and hobbies were similar. We had endless common topics when we were together. Even if we were quietly silent, we wouldn't feel awkward. Sometimes I even thought that Jenny was sent by heaven to help me. As soon as she appeared, she revealed Herman's true colors with a demon revealing mirror, and also let me find a big treasure like Spencer. In this way, Jenny was simply my benefactor. I no longer paid attention to Herman and Jenny and only focused on living my life well every day, until one day, another big news spread in the school. Herman was detained for attempted murder, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Spencer and I were having dinner when the sound of police sirens and ambulances came from the school, heading towards the lake. After we finished eating, we learned from our classmates that Herman had tried to drown Jenny and was seen by a classmate who happened to pass by the lake, so the classmate called the police. Jenny was taken away by an ambulance, and Herman was detained. A few days later, I learned the complete story from my classmates. That day, Jenny arrived at the hotel room and knocked on the door to see Herman. She originally wanted to ask Herman to help her pay off the debt. Herman of course refused, so she directly drugged Herman and stole his watch. She also secretly took a lot of indecent photos, planning to use them to blackmail Herman. Jenny sold the watch and paid off the debt, but soon she ran out of money again. She didn't want to go back to school for fear of being laughed at by her classmates. But her mother forced her to face the truth and drove her out of the house. She had nowhere to go and no money to stay in a hotel, so she could only blackmail Herman with the indecent photos to send her money. Herman's family was poor, so of course he had no money for Jenny to squander. But Jenny didn't believe it and thought Herman refused to give her money because he held a grudge. She questioned Herman. Clearly, one of his watches was worth hundreds of thousands of yuan. Why was he so reluctant to lend her tens of thousands of yuan for emergency? Herman didn't know anything about the watch at all. After repeatedly asking Jenny, he learned that the watch taken by Jenny was worth hundreds of thousands of yuan. He immediately forced Jenny to return the watch, saying that the watch was a birthday gift I gave him. Jenny of course didn't believe it and thought it was an excuse Herman made. So she really posted an indecent photo with the face blurred on the campus network to scare Herman. She didn't expect that this act would completely break Herman, who was already mentally tense. After Herman found Jenny by the lake, he immediately pushed her into the water without saying a word and held her down for several minutes until Jenny completely stopped moving before letting go. If the classmate on the roadside hadn't seen the scene by the lake, pulled Herman away, and given Jenny first aid, Herman would really have become a murderer. Once this incident happened, it caused a huge sensation and the circumstances were extremely bad. Both Herman and Jenny were directly expelled from school. Since then, I have never seen Jenny again. As for Herman, because he was sentenced, I went to the prison to see him once. When Herman saw me, he was extremely regretful and burst into tears. He said he was sorry to me. He had originally planned to have something happen to us when he asked me to the hotel. It would be best to take a video. In this way, even if I didn't forgive him, he could blackmail me to continue being with him. He also said he knew he was wrong. God must have punished him by letting him be drugged by Jenny. He also asked me if the watch I gave him was real. I nodded and said it was real. Besides that watch, the belt I gave you on Valentine's Day and the brooch I gave you for the New Year are not cheap. When you get out of prison, you can sell them for some money, I said. Herman collapsed. He was weeping and cursing Jenny loudly. He kept slapping himself in the face until the prison guards pulled him away. Looking at Herman, who had completely lost his spirit and seemed to have aged 10 years, I ultimately didn't tell him that I was the daughter of Wilson. On the way back, I couldn't help sighing. So, a top student with a bright future and a prisoner in a cell are only separated by a wall. I shook my head regretfully. Spencer tightened his hand holding mine and said to me, so, people can be greedy, but not avaricious. If one can't control one's desires, one can only be destroyed by them. Fortunately, in my life, I'm only greedy for you. My heart warmed. I pulled his hand and kissed his palm. Okay, it's a deal. Only be greedy for one person in a lifetime. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.